So the Welsh Government is using satellites to spy on homeowners with big gardens as it seeks to overhaul council tax. The Telegraph can disclose families who live in areas with good housing or lower crime rates are among those who will be hit with higher council tax bills under plans being drawn up by the Senate. The Labour-run Welsh Government says it will introduce higher council tax bands and higher tax bands rates to address property wealth. Think about this and rebalance the current system. Think for years on channels that no longer exist, I was talking about, well, you started hearing the term home blockers, people who were kind of attached to their home, had lived there for a number of decades, and yes, maybe the children had moved out, but they could afford to live there, and they were very happy with their home. They were starting to be demonised. Think about this, yeah? Even although they weren't using any more resources of any kind, blah, blah, blah. But they had a decent-sized house, yeah? They were being demonised, even in 10, 15 plus years ago. And, as I hear Bella snoring away in the background there, do you remember Google Maps? Think about that one. Seriously. Things that apparently back in the day, say about 3+ decades ago, if you had a large house, there was a likelihood, I remember, I think it was at least the late 80s, where people would come round and say, listen, we've just gone over all your properties with a helicopter, or we've made a couple of prints, would you like to buy one? And it was a thing, and people with larger properties, many of them said, yeah, absolutely, that's lovely, that's great. And they would just frame it, because it was their property from the sky. And of course, things changed. Drones, all the rest of it, Google Maps. And you can just fucking think about it. Type in Google Maps, go to like satellite view, blah, 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 and you can home in fairly decently to a certain resolution, to a certain point. But you can go no further because, well, they say it's an infringement on their privacy. And that would be right. Of course it would be right. But what people don't realise is they can see, they can quite literally see anything that's bloody changed in your property. And, oh wait, they've just bought a new whatever out the back there, blah, blah, blah. And remember, add AI to this. Seriously. And when you're living in a business and it's about the fine-tuning of wealth extraction from the many to the few, it's all part of that. Plus, hey, saving the planet. It's frightening that so few people care about this kind of stuff, because as I said in a vid that was covering it from, GB News, under the title, well, it's there. And I'm not a huge fan of GB News because it's just a variation on the usual pish, but and this guy in the conversation says, well, I'm fairly privileged and a decent-sized property in London, central London, blah, blah, blah. He says my council tax is, minimal, blah, blah, blah. But for the greater good, X, Y, and Z. And I just thought, of what I've seen of this guy over the years, he's a paid agenda merchant agent, a change agent, masquerading as a journalist. So, whatever pish is coming into the UK that most of the public are vastly unhappy about, he's the guy who says, look, that's not what you're seeing at all, this is for the greater good, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, I made the comment, the plan is for decent-sized, never mind larger properties, to become so unaffordable to run that you're forced to either downsize or take in lodgers. Seriously. That's exactly what this is all about. It's part of Agenda 21. Your thoughts, your views, your thumbs up, your shares, and if you support, like the channel, support the channel, and I'll speak to you soon.